All right. Well, we're ready to rock and roll here this evening, but real want to thank everybody for their time. We'll be very brief this evening and make sure that we give you enough information for you tonight to be able to make an educated decision. If Riman can help change you and your family's financial future, and obviously you tonight taking up your time and your friend that invited you on, them taking up their time. When we get all through with all the information we share, just get back to them, and just kind of let them know, if you saw it or not, just let them know yes, or let them know no. I'm a big believer of maybe or think about it. It's kind of a nice way of saying no, right? So my background is real simple. I was very blessed about 30 years ago to get the opportunity to be able to get introduced to this industry. And sometimes I don't like talking about, my past, but I came from a really poor family. I just share with you my background. I was in high school when I got started in this industry. Was working at a go-kart track part-time. I used to hold a sign up that said no bumping. And on the flip side, it was a double-sided. On the other side of the sign, it said slow down, right? So I was kind of like, working on a go-kart track. Been doing that for a year while I was in high school. And, my brother-in-law would call me up and he said, "Hey, Tim, I got really lucky. I met some really successful people. You got to come take a look at what these guys are up to." And it was February 15th, 1996. I'll never forget that day. Walked into a room, met some really successful people, and they said, "Hey, we'll teach you how to become an entrepreneur." So I was like, I don't even know how to spell that word. I still don't know if I could spell that word. But I said to myself, man, you know what? I got nothing to lose, right? And everything to gain. And I got started. I was real busy at that time in my life. Was busy and broke. That's kind of probably the worst place to be, right? Wasn't doing really well in school. Was scared about my future. And at that point, I'd never been around successful people. I'd never been around, financially independent people. And, I came from a poor family. My dad ran away from home when I was a little kid. So I had a, single parent who did the best that she could. And, she moved away to San Bernardino when I was in high school. So I was just crashing on friends' couches. And when I couldn't find a couch to crash on back in those days, I would jump on top of a schoolhouse. There was a little portable out back of the schoolhouse. It was easy to sleep on. So I'd sleep up there, and never dreamt that what had happened to me in this profession would ever happen. I wasn't even one of those types of people that had real big goals or anything like that. I was just trying to fill my gas tank up with some gas and, get a little bit of food so I could get some, some fast food. Right. I mean, that was literally it. And I got around these wealthy people and they taught me the books to read. They taught me the changes to make. Right. And in a short period of time, my life changed. Was able to make a substantial amount of income, started making a 6-figure income being an entrepreneur 30 years ago, and built a great business there. And it was really remarkable. Got into products. That was a service company. I got into products, realized there was a lot more money in that. And about basically what happened to me was 16 years ago, we started a skincare company. And I'd never been in beauty before. We took this company around the world. We ended up doing $1 billion in sales. And it was a dream come true, and 3 years ago, I sold that business. And how I heard about Riman was a good friend of mine, Mr. Danny Bay. He's the president of sales for Riman. And basically where Danny, he had sent me some products and he said, "Dude, skincare, beauty products, take a look at these." And they sat there for a little bit. And finally I tried them. And that day I went to football practice. And one of my football coaches was like, "Your skin looks good." And I was like, why would a dude say that to another dude? I was like kind of weirded out a little bit. Nobody ever said anything, like no guys had ever said like that. I'm like, dang, dude, is he trying to hit on me or something? That was weirded out. And then the next day, my daughter goes, "Did you get Botox?" And I'm like, why in the world would I get Botox? Like, my wife goes, "But your skin does look good." She goes, "It's got to be that stuff that Danny told you about." I said, "There's no way a product could work that fast." She said, "Just call him and find out." And that's when I called Danny and he shared with me the story of Riman. But basically, how Riman got started, Danny Bay had told me, is basically there's a gentleman by the name of Chairman On. He's the founder of Riman. Okay. But prior to opening Riman, he was the #1 K beauty formulator in the world. Right. So for the last 20 years, he'd been creating some of the top selling brands or top selling products as a formulator, and he would sell those formulas to other companies. Right. And about 10 years ago or so, he started to basically research a plant. And in the Western world, we know it as tiger grass, right? So basically, if you could imagine, during mating season, tigers fight, right? In Asia, right? They fight. They probably fight all the time. I don't know. I've never hung out with tigers or anything like that, but the tigers, when they get wounded, though, you can find them. They'll lay around and roll around in this grass called tiger grass, right? And the reason being is because it helps heal their wounds. So in America, we have an ointment. I know you guys have a different ointment, but we have an ointment that's in every first aid kit. It's like a healing ointment. It's called Neosporin. I know you guys don't have that product in Europe, but you guys probably have some type of a healing ointment. But what happened was, in Korea, their healing ointment is called Matakaso. This is like a famous Korean product, right? It's been around for like 50 years, and it's made from tiger grass, right? So tiger grass is something that is kind of well known in Asia, and because of its healing properties. It's been used in tons of different, basically healing products, right? For like medicinal purposes. Well, what happened was, this is very interesting. He started to study this centella leaf because he's like, I think that there's a lot more there than people could imagine. And during the time he started to research, Chairman An started to research tiger grass, there was a discovery made. They found water that was actually trapped inside of a volcano. So in Korea, they have a little island south of Korea called Jeju Island. Okay. And they found water that was trapped inside of this volcano. Okay. It's called Halasan volcano. They found water that's been trapped there for 400,000 years. So the water has basically absorbed the bedrock, the minerals from the bedrock. And when this discovery was made, the United Nations stepped in and made it UNESCO heritage site to protect it. Okay. And the Korean government gave out one skincare contract to Chairman An for research with this water. So what he did was he took this water and he took it and he sprayed the plants with it. So the plants grew from the size of like a little token, right? In America, we call them quarters. I don't know what you guys call them there, but like, in Europe, but they're basically like a little token, right? And basically that's the size of the traditional centella leaf or tiger grass, as we all know it. And when he sprayed the plants with this lava energy water, it grew to be the size of the hand. So it grew 5 to 10 times bigger. And it has 5 to 10 times the healing properties, right? So he goes, this is a new species of plant. So he got this patented. So no one else on the planet can have this plant. And he started to put together this in-cell derm line. And when he put together this in-cell derm line, he did something that had never been done before in skincare, which is called the microfluidization process. So some of you, if you're big into if you're into medicine and stuff, if you're a doctor and you're into medicine, you know that microfluidization is the same process they use for like testosterone cream, estrogen creams, sometimes cortisone creams, lidocaine creams. And that microfluidization process takes something from micrometers and makes it nanometers. What does that mean? Basically, it's 350 times smaller than a hair follicle. So it can penetrate past your epidermis to your dermis. That's why it's called in-cell derm, in to the cellular level of the dermis. So it can penetrate your epidermis and it helps heal your skin and it hydrates your skin. Okay. So he was like, this is the best formula I've ever created. I don't want to sell this formula to another company. I'm going to start my own company and I'm going to partner up with people from all over the world and give them a chance to be able to build profits by promoting these products. Right. So we get an equity ownership position in Riman if we decide that, hey, look, you know what, we want to promote these products, right? So tonight, what I'm going to do is real briefly kind of run through how the products work, why the products work, and basically how and why the income opportunity is so significant, right? So I'm going to pull up a real quick slide deck here, and I'm going to go through this information, and you can kind of just follow along and see if it makes sense to you, like it made sense to me. So just real briefly, when you talk about let's go ahead and start off here. Let's see if we get this thing shared properly. I think we're doing good. Nice, right? First time's the charm, it looks like tonight. Today's going to be a good day. So here's what we're going to talk about basically is Riman, right? What it can do for you, how the products work so well, and kind of just basically touch on a few things. And we have some before and afters I'll show you too as well. But basically, Riman got started in 2018 out of South Korea, right? And basically what they were able to accomplish was really remarkable. They were able to do $2.5 billion in sales out of South Korea. Now, why is that significant? Well, many of you know skincare in Korea is popular, okay? It's very popular. It's one of the most competitive, I think it's actually the most competitive market when it comes to skincare in the world. To become the #1 rated K-beauty brand in that market, obviously is unheard of, right? Only one company can do that. And Riman was able to do that between 2018 and before we expanded into the US, okay, in 2023. Now, Riman was geared up to expand into internationally. Okay, they were gearing up for that in 2020, but we all know, right, what happened in 2020. So they said, let's wait for the COVID restrictions to be lifted in Korea before we decide to take this thing around the world, right? Well, the COVID restrictions lasted a lot longer in South Korea. We all know they lasted until about November 2022. So once the COVID restrictions were lifted, the company reached out to Mr. Danny Bay and said, hey, look, we want you to come on board, be the president of sales, spearhead taking this thing around the world. And, Mr. Danny Bay is a good friend of mine, somebody I've known for over 20 years. I met him when he was 19 years old working at a Starbucks. And, I was able to get a chance to meet with him and show him how to do this industry and how to be able to build this type of business. And him and I are best friends. So when he sent me the product, I was really blown away by the story. I'm thinking to myself, becoming the number one rated K beauty brand, that's like being the number one coffee company in Colombia, right? Or being, being the number one fish and chips company in England, right? So they sold over 40 million bottles. Now, remember, the population of Korea is how much? Well, the population of Korea is about 50 million people, okay? And they've actually upwards of sold more than that. And this is the number one selling cream, the EX cream. And they were able to sell just 40 million bottles of that alone. So that told me, when I looked at it, I said, wait a second, if you can become the number one K-beauty brand, I know you guys are good, right? I knew that, okay? And obviously, my face had changed, right? So I knew it was good, right? So we started US and Canada in March of 2018. They launched the company. I was there at the launch. The timing really wasn't right for me to be able to get started with the company, but I was there to support my good friend, Mr. Danny Bay, and take a look at it. And they had a huge event in Las Vegas, and I was there, and everybody in the audience was from South Korea or Korean Americans. The whole event was in Korean, and I was like, there's not enough Korean people in America. Like, you got to if you want to build in America, you got to turn this into an American company, right? And basically, we said we could blow this thing up. We had no idea though, right? So they opened up Taiwan. They started opening up internationally, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, Mexico. And then they opened up the Philippines, the United Kingdom, right? They pre-launched that in October of 2025. Japan, they opened up in fourth quarter. And they just opened up Italy, Spain, Ireland, Colombia, Chile, and Peru. And also in the Europe markets, we're about to open up as well, France, okay, and also Germany and Romania. Those are the next three countries up as we start to expand all throughout Europe, right? So the excitement, timing's everything, right? My mentor told me the T in timing is more important than T in talent, right? It's all about being in the right place, the right time. So I was really excited about this. When I saw what was happening with Riman, I saw the fact that they built their own resort, that they built 160,000 square foot smart farm to grow these hero ingredients. I was kind of blown away. And what happened is basically I tried all the products, right? But the ICD product is so next level that it's hard to even focus on anything else, right? But the Bodolab product was really important for me. The hair care was really important because I was starting to, when I would take a shower, I'd see kind of hair in the drain. I was like, oh man, that's not, it's happening, right? But the Bodolab hair care has really helped out my hair. And basically this is the star of the show. I talked about this already, the giant Byungpul. Byungpul is basically the Korean translation for, Centella asiatica or tiger grass, but ours is a giant one. Okay. This is a patented plant. It's patented in the US as well. And basically this plant is really the star of the show. Okay. Because nobody else on the planet Earth has access to this plant. The other thing is only grown inside of this 160,000 square foot smart farm, AI powered smart farm that was actually opened up by a company out of the Netherlands. They built this for us called Priva. Priva is the number one company when it comes to building smart farms. We hired the best to build this smart farm that we own. The Jeju Lab energy water, no one else has access to it. Okay, nobody else has access to it for skincare purposes. And then obviously that nanoliposomal technology and that microfluidization process, that's what sets us apart. That's what sets us apart. Whenever everybody knows me, kind of knows me as like, Tim the skincare guru, right? And I obviously I'm not, right? But I kind of laugh at that because I've been in skincare now for over, 16, 17 years. So I know a lot of, the last company I sold $1 billion of that product. And now we're launching obviously here, and people always ask me, it's like, why is this so much better than anything else? And I go, I could start with our, we have over 20 patents. I could start with our patents. I could start with the water that we use, not distilled. We have live, it's energy water. But what sets us apart is the microfluidization. Okay. Most people's skincare, in fact, all people's skincare sits on your skin. It doesn't penetrate your epidermis. But with this microfluidization process, it penetrates past your epidermis. It really sets us apart. But the Riman campus is on Jeju Island at the base of the Halasan volcano. Okay. And here's what it looks like. The Jeju Lava Energy Center is where the water is processed out of the volcano, right? And then the Byungpul lab is literally you could throw a rock there, right? And that's where the Byungpul lab is. And then like basically a block away is our Riman smart farm that we just built. And then we have the Ask base, right? Very close by. Ask base is our research and development company that creates products for Riman. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what this thing looks like. It's absolutely phenomenal, man. When you walk in there and you can just see Byungpul as far as the eye can see. I mean, it's absolutely huge. And no one else in all K-Beauty products grows their ingredients. Nobody's doing that. Okay. And all K-Beauty. We're the only company that grows the raw materials. Okay. It sets us apart once again, right? And then when you look at this resort that we built, it's unbelievable. We basically, Riman was like, look, let's build a resort for our top distributors to come to. And they can come to this resort, qualify to come. And there's basically 9 villas that seat 6 people. And they just bought the land next to it. They're going to double in size. They got this huge life-ending swimming pool. I mean, it's unbelievable. The spa they have there, it's everything about this thing. It's just absolutely first class. When people go there, they go, wow, never seen a company build a resort. Like I've been in this profession for 30 years, never seen a resort being built. I mean, it's absolutely remarkable. And mainly when you go there and experience it, it's phenomenal. And then you obviously, when people go there and experience it, what do? Right. They go to the right afterwards, they'll go to the smart farm and see this facilities that's just next level. Okay? So when you look at what we're doing, it's absolutely phenomenal. But this is really the star of this show. This is our flagship products, is the ICD line. Okay, it's German Dermatest certified. You guys, anybody from Germany knows what that is. The most stringent, hardest test to pass in skincare. We were able to get basically a certification from the German Dermatest certified stamp on our products. But what this product does, it cleanses, hydrates, and protects. And it's skincare that glows from the inside out because it penetrates that epidermis. And, I'll just show you my before and afters because I'm a big believer, like, when you think about it, like a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? And remember on the left, that's me. And obviously on the right, that's me. But on the left, I was in skincare at that point for over 15, 16 years in that picture, right? Or actually it was 14 years at the time, right? And then I got started with Riman. But when I was in that company, my face it was terrible, right? And when I started trying these products, right away started getting results. And that's what really caught my attention, right? I'm like, wait a second. If it could work for me, it could work for everybody. Like my redness in my face went away, the dryness. And since it hydrates your skin, it kind of plumps up your wrinkles, right? Like the fine lines and wrinkles, it kind of plumps them up because of the hydration process. So the appearance of your fine lines and wrinkles, obviously you can imagine them being reduced, right? And then this is my daughter. She had basically like, I don't know what that's called, but like bumps on her face, right? I don't know if it's considered acne or rosacea or whatever. I'm not like I said, I'm not a scientist or anything like that. But what I do know is her before and after is remarkable, right? This is my daughter. And I'll give you another example. These are some of the top people throughout, Riman and also their family members, right? On the bottom right there, you have 2 pictures of young girls with acne. Those are actually a good friend of mine's daughter and cousin. And the results that people are getting from these products are absolutely phenomenal. It really is remarkable to see. And it's fun to hear, right? When you share a product with somebody and they fall in love with it and they get massive results, it's just amazing, right? And the Boda Lab, I'm not going to get too much into it, but what we use is deserticolate, basically is a loliolide it basically is an algae that metabolizes basically like a loliolite that helps remove the sebum plugs from your hair. So you can, I'll just show you what the results look like, right? So for me, it was a big deal, right? Because my hair was thinning, I knew it. And once I started using the product, I was like blown away, right, with the results that I was getting. I'm not making any medical claims about what it can do. You can look at these pictures and kind of figure out for yourself what kind of results people are getting. But what I can just tell you from my own personal experience, I'm a big fan, right? I don't say that it, does anything. People say, well, in Korea, we've got clinical studies that prove that, it grows, obviously, the stuff on top of your hair. I go, well, we're not in Korea, so we're not going to talk about that. But it is the same product, So let me just get into this a little bit here. Now I want to talk to you basically a little bit about some of the power of the plan, right? I mean, that's what really got me fired up whenever I looked at it for the first time was the compensation reward structure. It just was absolutely next level. I never seen a reward structure so powerful. So tonight, real quickly, I'm just going to touch on this, and then we can get into more details on a compensation plan, training, or whatever it might be. But the biggest thing, I'm going to talk to you about some statistics. These statistics, okay, are from US. So I apologize in advance that I don't have the European figures, but you could imagine they're probably about the same, right? In America, we have an organization, a government organization. It's called the Small Business Administration. Okay, the SBA is what it is known for. The Small Business Administration tracks small businesses. Okay, and what they discovered is the average small business loan in America today is 450,000 US dollars. Okay, so the average small business costs over 450,000 is what the loans are in America to start those. Now, after 5 years, I think it's somewhere around 65 or 64% of those businesses fail. And the ones that are profitable on average profit between 5 to 7%. So you can imagine, right? 5 to 7% is a good profit for a business. And when you look up profitabilities of businesses, that is that is good, right? Any type of a profit in a business is good because most businesses are not, right? So when you look at that profitability, it's kind of hard to generate wealth, right? Unless you really scale your business, right? So today I'm going to share with you how you can make profits by promoting these products that is, it's remarkable what's possible. Now, obviously it takes work. We got amazing products, but they're not going to sprout arms and legs and walk over and talk to people, right? They're not doing that, right? But we got to talk to people, but we talk to people anyways, right? And whenever you have results, people ask you, what's going on? You look so healthy, your skin's glowing, what's going on? And you'll get people to actually reach out and ask you about what's happening when they see your face, right? So let's talk a little bit about it. This is the basic traditional supply chain that traditionally is what goes on in the world today. Oops, hold on, sorry about that. That goes on today is what a company will basically manufacture a product, create a product, mark it up and sell it to distributors. Distributors will mark it up, sell it to wholesalers. Wholesalers mark it up to retailers. Then they mark it up to the customer. So the customer ends up paying a higher premium because all those people have to make their cut. What Riman said is, what would happen if we just said, look, you know what we're going to do? We're going to partner up with you, okay, and give you an equity ownership in Riman, and you can go direct to customers, okay? So who do you know with skin? Who do you know that has a face, okay? And you start thinking about it, you're like, dang near everybody, right, Tim? Retail shops is another big thing that I do. I talk to a lot of retailers, okay? Med spa owners, salon owners, nail shop owners, like anybody that owns a retail shop, give them the opportunity to put these products in there so they can have a K-beauty brand, like a K-beauty line inside of their retail establishment. I don't knock on doors. I don't stand, I don't walk around from business to business, but I know people, right? And my wife, she does her hair with the same people, does her nails with the same people. So we have relationships through her, right? And then also at the same time, whenever I build a distribution channel, because I like to let other people participate in this business with me, they all know people as well. So I talk to retailers all the time. They fall in love with the products. And what happens is there's another method called online channel where you can actually promote the products, guess what? Online, whether that be, through social media or however. And when customers join with you, whether it be belly to belly, like I talk to people all the time, retail shops, online channel, they're going to basically enroll. When they put their email address through your URL, you're going to get your own private URL. They're going to be attached to you. So when they reorder, what happens is you're actually going to get paid. So when you get a customer, that customer is actually attached to you. Okay. Every time you get a customer, bang, 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 bang. When they reorder through their account, you're going to get paid. Now, why would they reorder? Well, because every purchase they make, they're going to get a 5% reward points. Basically, that's a discount that's available 30 days after purchase. So if I buy a product today from one of you as a customer, whatever I buy, I'm going to get a 5% reward points that is going to be credited to my account. When I log in there 30 days from the time I buy, I can access that on the checkout portion. When I check out, before I click on payment, there's an option to add my reward points. So that becomes a discount, right, on my products. And then once I hit a certain threshold, I become a VIP customer. Once I hit another threshold, I can become a VVIP customer. So I can get another additional 5 to 10% discount. So you're talking about 5% reward points, 5 to 10% discount when you hit those thresholds. It's up to 15% basically. So customers want to continue to keep buying, unlock all those rewards, and they fall in love with the product, right? It's absolutely remarkable. Now, let me show you how you can maximize your earning potential. There's different positions in the compensation structure. And once you unlock these positions, you basically get an automatic pay raise. This is powerful. So when people get started, typically they start off as a planner, right? Planner's basically like, how does this work, right? How do I find my links? How do I do this? How do I do that? And you're very, very new, right? So we have a reward structure that will help make sure you get support when you get started, right? And as you get support and you learn how to do it, once you accumulate 3,000 sales points in a 3-month period on anything that you buy yourself or sell yourself, or anybody that you introduce buys or sells as well, if you decide that you want to build a distribution channel, what happens is, guess what? You get to count all that volume. And once you get to 3,000, you automatically get promoted to manager. Now, watch this. When you become a manager, guess what happens? You're locked in, meaning that you're not going to start off as a planner next month. You're manager, right? And now you can unlock an additional 10% retail bonus. So now you're at 20 to 30%. Once you accumulate 6,000 sales points within a 3-month period, okay, anything that you buy or sell, or anybody that you introduce to the Riman opportunity, whatever they buy or sell is going to count towards that 6,000. Guess what? You're going to become a senior manager. Watch what happens now. Now you're getting 30% right out the gates, plus you get an additional 10% if you hit that top retailer bonus. Watch how this works, okay? And once you do a really great job, and if you decide that you want to build a distribution channel, now you can hit manager and senior manager just by sharing products. Never have to build a team of people. But if you want to unlock team leader, you want to build a team, right? Now, a lot of people that I have that are customer getters, they don't want to build a team. They naturally end up building a team because their customers are like, this products are awesome. I know a lot of people that want to buy this stuff, and they'll end up pushing a little button that says upgrade to planner. Once they do that, now they're a planner. You see that? And now they're on your team, right? So team leaders now can make 40 to 50% anytime they promote a product. Okay. So if I'm a team leader, right, and I basically sell a product, I'm going to make 40 to 50%, right, on the bonus points of that product. Okay. Now watch how this works. Whoops, go back. This is how, if you decide that you want to build a distribution channel. Now, all this that you see right here, I want you to focus on where it says unilevel, right? It says 1 through 6 here, kind of towards the middle to the bottom of the page, right? And you're going to see 2 percentages, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right. Okay. The one on the left, that's the unilevel pay. Okay. So it goes 5, 5, 3, 3, 3, 3. So that's the unilevel pay. Now the pay on the right is the differential pay. Basically, when you add them together, you're going to get, as a planner, if you introduce the business to somebody and you unlock your unilevel for the month, you can make a 10% override on what they do. Right. And then there's also an opportunity to be able to, if you unlock your unilevel, you can get on your second level, meaning if you introduce me, I would be your level what? 1. And if I introduce, let's say my daughter, she would be your level 2, my level 1. You see how that works? And you can build a distribution channel. And as people promote these products, guess what happens to you? Bam, you can make money, right? I love that. So what happens is, as a manager, 5 to 10% equals, that's basically 5 plus 10 is 15. Level 2, once again, that's part of the unilevel. And then here's your unilevel. Now, as a senior manager, 25 on level 1, 10, 8, 8 as a team leader. It's where it really gets powerful, right? You're talking about up to 35% when you sponsor a brand new person. When they sponsor somebody, up to 30%, 28, 28, 28, 20. So there's substantial income obviously available and for people that are willing to put in the time, effort, and energy. Okay. Now, when you get started, you're not going to become a team leader overnight. Okay. It's going to take a little bit of time, effort, and energy. But at the same time, all we're doing is what? Talking to people. Do you think the people that you know that have skin, would they prefer their skin to look better or worse? Let me ask you this question. If your friend found a product that could take, that could basically I look at it like hitting the rewind button on my face, right? It's like, whoop, went back in time on my face. If somebody had a product like that and didn't share it with me, how do you think I'd feel about them? Okay. If one of my buddies had this product and they didn't allow me to buy it or use it, I wouldn't be pumped. I want to try it. Like, let me my wife deserves, right, for me not to look as bad as I do, right? So I like to use the product, right? And that's how I got introduced to it, is led with the product. So when you share the product with people, they're going to have, right? Every time I introduce the product to people, what I discover is everybody calls me up and says, man, I can't believe how great my skin looks. I love this. So you can promote the products, and you can, guess what? Teach people to promote the products, and you can get paid. We have a training system unlike none other. Okay. So I'm not going to get too much into this detailed sheet, but understand when you get started, you want to get some products. I think everybody agree. Nobody would disagree. If you own a gas station, what's the first thing you want? Gas, right? If you owned a liquor store, right? You want to get some liquor, right? If you owned a tire company, you probably need some what? Tires. If you own a skincare company, you probably want to get what? Some skincare, right? So these are the three packages that are available, right? Typically in UK, people will get started, and then they'll end up getting it as having basically a customer buy one of these, like maybe a family member, so they can get the products faster. But basically, and the person in Biojuan can explain to you how that works. But basically, we have the basic pack, right? The advanced and the business, right? So basically, what happens is when you get these packages, right, you get basically these products, okay, and you get free products with them. This is powerful. So when you buy the product, they're going to additionally add free products that you can go out and promote and sell. Okay. So these are available only for planners first 30 days. Customers can get them as well. Right. And, a lot of times that's how people end up wanting to get them, right? It's through a customer account. Now, you see how the ones on the right, they have a green. Why are they green, Tim? Well, because they give you enough SP to unlock your unit level. So you can actually get a pay raise right away. Now, you obviously have to get 10 lifetime customer accounts. We'll show you what that looks like as well. So it's not like if you get these packs, you make more money. That's not what happens. Okay. That you don't ever want to be in a situation like that. What happens is you get the necessary customers. You can obviously customer accounts with these personal volume. You can unlock your unit level right from the beginning. So for me, I'm the type of person, I like to have products. I don't like to be the type of person that's caught without products. I don't want to be like, if I only have one cream, I'm not going to want to share it with many people. Do you see what's happening? Right. If I've only got one of these products, I might be a little stingy, right? And then if me and my wife are using it, now we might get into an argument, right? You see what's happening? My wife's like, you're using too much, right? So, these bigger packages are smart just because they give you more products that you can demo, right? We tell people use, talk, demo, use the products, talk about the products, demo the products. Super simple, okay? And that's why I get so excited about the Riman opportunity, is because all I do is I just teach people, hey, change your face, change your finances, right? Change your face, change your finances. Take before and afters, show people what's going on, and let them decide for themselves if they want to take action and buy some of these amazing products that can really have a significant impact, right, on their self-esteem. When you look in the mirror and you notice the difference right away, your confidence goes up a little bit, right? You're like, ooh, okay. Because I'm telling you what, I would look in the mirror and I'm like, dang, you know what I mean? Like I was looking in the mirror for years. And I'm like, good God, where are these wrinkles are just coming fast, right? But basically, once I started using products, I felt like I kind of rewinded that situation and don't feel that way, right? So let me give you just a little bit of more information. This is, oh my God, I didn't put the right one in here. We're going to Bahamas in the US. You guys are going to Monte Carlo in Europe. So there's a retreat that you can qualify for, Monte Carlo in that's happening this year. It's a retreat. It's going to be unbelievable. If you're in Asia, you're going to be going to Phuket, Thailand. So there's different retreats for different markets, right? So North America and Latin America are going to Bahamas. Europe, Monte Carlo. Asia, going to obviously going to Phuket. So these are our retreats. Everybody qualifies. Has the opportunity to be able to qualify for. Another one is Dubai. Right. When you hit the director rank, you automatically get a trip to Dubai, right? Which is really exciting as well. It's going to be a global retreat for everybody there. So that'll be really cool to see everybody from around the world. And we have something that's really remarkable. It's called Leadership Match Bonus. So basically what this means is when you get started, you're going to get a lot of support, right? Because when you become a team leader and you produce a team leader, you unlock Leadership Match Bonus, which is more pay, which is basically you can earn an additional 40% match bonus on as a team leader on your team leaders and higher, right? And you can earn actually as a team leader 3 generations, 40, 20, 10. As a director, 5 generations, senior director 6. And when you become a national director, you unlock all 6 generations. And this, for me, being in the business now for like almost 2.5 years, this is by far the biggest a section of my check. When I look at my check, this by far like is unbelievable. So this is a very, very, very attractive part of the pay that incentivizes people to do what? To help one another out. So you'll get a lot of support. We have a great training system. Every Tuesday, Thursday, we've got Zooms that we do in Europe that people take advantage of. And you right now, the most important thing that I want to encourage you to do is get back to your buddy that invited you on, right? And really just ask them, ask them how you can enroll, right? Because they have an enrollment link. So when you get started, you're going to get this enrollment link. And whenever people click on that enrollment link, they can just type it in there and bam, they're connected to you. Now, when you get started, you're going to get a back office that tracks everything for you. Okay. And it basically, it's a turnkey business. So they'll track everything that's happening in your organization. Think about this. Okay. So your organization is growing and you're finding people that are getting customers, then your team starts to take off. They're going to track it all for you. And they're going to show it to you. And you get to see that information right at your fingertips. So one of the most important things about the business is the support structure. You can create bags, right? And send them out to customers. That's what I do. I just tell people I have one for dudes, right? I got one for young dudes. I got one for old dudes like me, right? I got one for, younger women, right? And then, young, not as young women, right? You know what I mean? Like middle age, right? Whatever it's called. I don't like to say anything that make them bad. I'm someone that's got great skin that wants their skin to look better, right? That's what I always say. And I'll give them basically a regimen and I'll make a bag for them and just send them a link of the bag. You know what I mean? And it's just a turnkey operation, right? It literally is a business and you can run it pretty much on your phone. Just think about that, right? And I think right now, and I know this in America, and I was in Europe at the end of March, beginning of April, and I saw it there. People right now have got their hands up because this global economy, right? People are more uncertain right now about what's happening with the economy than ever before. So just being involved in this profession for 30 years, people that necessarily would not normally get involved in a business like this, they're open-minded, right? I've got more doctors in my organization than 30 years in this industry. And I think a lot of it is because the efficacy and the quality of the product. When you have a product that has such high efficacy, high standards, right? You got the number one cleanest K-beauty product. You got the number one branded K-beauty products. We basically grow all of our hero ingredients in a controlled environment. Nobody's doing what we're doing, right? So people, when they look at this, they get excited, right? They're like, wait a second. This is a reputable company. I got a lot of credibility as a doctor, or I got a lot of credibility as a business professional or an esthetician or whatever it might be. I can get behind these products because of how quality they are. Where typically in direct selling, it's like 3 or 4 companies that make all the products for the same companies. So everybody's got basically the same company with a different label. Our products are next level. The packaging, I didn't even talk about it, but the packaging was created by a company called Pentagram. And there's a lady by the name of Paula Scher. She's the number one marketing person for that company, right? Paula Scher's, her design work is unbelievable. She does Louis Vuitton, Moet, Hennessy, the LVMH company. Like she does the Christian Louis Vuitton. Like she does the marketing for a lot of the major brands in America and throughout the world. Her design works next level, right? We hired her to design the bottles, the packaging. And then guess what we did? We bought the bottling company that creates them. So everything's fully integrated. We literally go seed to serum. We go farm to face. Nobody's doing what we're doing, right? That's why I'm so excited about it. Being in this profession for 30 years, it's like, man, you know what? I finally found a gold mine, right? It's like, wait a second. I always look at it like if I went out to the racetracks, I'm like, I'm going to bet on a horse, right? I've never done this before, but imagine that. I'm sure you guys have horse racing where you live, but in America, it's like one of the things that some people do. And you go out there and you look at the horses and all of a sudden you see a purple unicorn with big wings. I'm betting on that one. I'm betting on that purple unicorn, right? It might be a rainbow unicorn, but it's got wings. It's like, wait a second, what is going on here? This is huge, right? And that's what I feel like we found with Riman. In 30 years of doing this, I've never seen a company like this, right? Who do you know that's got a resort? Like just direct sales companies, with resorts. We might be here a while. Wow. You know what I mean? Right? Who do you know that's got 160,000 square foot smart farm that grows it in an AI power controlled environment with over 20 patents? I got stuff to do today, right? I won't be here too long, right? So the compensation reward structure is unlike anything I've ever seen. I always tell people, if you get involved in the beauty company and you see a bunch of guys here, just know the comp plan's good. Right. You're like, why are these dudes here? You'll find out that a lot of our top people are men. You're like, why are guys on the beauty industry? Right. And some of them are like me ugly. Right. So it's like, why would an ugly guy get involved in beauty? Right. Look, when I was 6 years old, I didn't say, hey, when I grow up, I want to find a good, skincare company to get excited about and go around the world and talk about. Right. If I can find a good lotion. Right. But the reason why is because the money's so great and the repeat volume is unbelievable. You understand? Like people aren't going to stop using a product that basically they're getting nonstop compliments on. If people are complimenting you every day, how you're like, no, I'm going to go back to Jergens lotion, right? Or whatever. It's like, I'm not going back to the bad guys. I'm sticking it with the good guys, right? So you'll have so much fun with this. The support structures aren't like any other. That's my favorite thing to do is to watch people grow and develop. And I love, serving the community, serving the Riman family and helping this thing because we're going to take this thing to 10 billion. My goal is to take this thing to $10 billion a year. That's my goal. That's my objective. Build this thing around the world. I'm just like, I feel like I'm on a war against wrinkles. I tell people this, you know what? Wrinkles hate me. Wrinkles don't want to hear me, right? They hear my voice, they get scared, right? I'm not playing. I'm knocking wrinkles left and right. I'm like, bam, like, woo, you know what I mean? So you guys, I like to have a lot of fun too. So I know you guys in Europe are very serious and brilliant and smart. You know what I mean? So I won't like these Americans. But you guys, I really like having a lot of fun and I can't wait to spend more time with you. We got another event happening just like this on Tuesday. It's going to be an orientation training. It's going to be actually same time on this number. And then Thursday at the same time, we're going to have this overview. So it's good to plug into these and get your new people plugged in as you're sharing the product, sharing the opportunity, allowing people to, participate in a better quality of life is always a good idea, right? I just, talk to people, use the products, use talk demo, right? Change my face, change my finance. I keep it super simple, have fun, and it grows like wildfire. So anything I can ever do to be of assistance, feel free to let me know. Appreciate all of your time. And we're going to have a great one here. I know it's late for you guys, right? So I'm just getting my day started. So appreciate you guys this time. Appreciate you guys all tuning in and hopefully you found some information today that was valuable. But get back to your buddy, get their link, get enrolled, and we'll make this thing happen together. Thanks everybody for your time. Take care.